Death by folders, huh? I have this folder here. You see this? I've had it for a while. What's in here? Couple of names. Ah, yes. All important. Going backwards. Sufi Muhammad Khan, May 2nd, 2000. Hayatullah Khan, June 16th, 2006. Manboob Khan, April 28th, 2007. Noor Hakim Khan, June 2nd, 2007. Javeed Khan, July 3rd, 2007. Musa Kankel, February 18th, 2009. Mizri Khan, September 14th, 2010. Pervez Khan, December 6th, 2010. Wali Khan Baber, January 13th, 2011. Nazrullah Khan Afridi, May 10th, 2011. Asfandiar Khan, June 11th, 2011. Shafiullah Khan, June 17th, 2011. Mukaran Khan Aitif, January 17th, 2012. Saqib Khan, November 22nd, 2012. Mahmoud Khan, August 8th, 2016. Taimur Khan, February 12th, 2017. Sohail Khan, October 16th, 2018. All but one of these happened after January 23rd, 2002. Is that why I'm in second place? But that's not what I was looking for, even though it's in this folder and it's of relevance. Ah, yes. This was printed out, distinct from the rest. Why? Because I understood the implications. See, if you were going to do what has just been discussed as somebody's understanding of their interest to do, then this might be well how you do it. Is this what you wanted me to end my budget with? You didn't want the women and children to be the target. You had already predetermined what? Were you going to try to flip? And after years of giving false accolades and accommodation to a pretender, while you destroyed the lives of numerous women and men around the world, that somehow you were going to get some sort of satisfaction making an example? You've already made quite an example. I don't have enough Krauses under my belt to justify my position the way some others might think they've justified theirs. And I'm not willing to anglicize it any more than it's already been anglicized. And I'm not translating into Spanish. I am going to do what I can to address purse snatching and illegal coinage in every manner possible, including insofar as it tries to start with enticing the youth, even if it means taking the mother off the blockchain while she's in birth. But to begin, let us remind ourselves of what the obligation was. Krause's investigation revealed that the second transaction was related to a pending contract involving 3 different military aircraft contractors attempting to secure a deal with the U.S. Air Force for 350 jets. There was another woman who had been at the Salvation Army around the time that Krause had entered that was also being used as part of the bidding. Krause also learned that a competition for youth in 3 cities had been gambled on as part of the bidding process, and that the transaction that was attempted to be processed through her happened during the time frame that the decision on the Houston competition was being announced. Krause later learned that the first transaction that occurred on April 17, 2017, was connected to a series of events that involved Houston Sheriff Ed Gonzalez. While Krause had no connection to Gonzalez or knowledge of him, a variety of earlier attempts at transactions did attempt to connect Krause to Gonzalez directly. Notably, Krause's entrance into the bridge over troubled waters was a result of an attempted transaction involving a man calling himself Gonzalez, but Krause had no awareness at the time that there was an attempt to connect her to the sheriff. She was able to understand the connection by later uncovering the chain of events and continuing to pursue her investigation. Krause's investigation revealed that she had been used in an attempt to politically undermine efforts that Sheriff Gonzalez and other Texas sheriffs had been involved in. Krause learned that Gonzalez had been involved with another sheriff named Hernandez to protest SB 4 and other efforts of Texas state legislators to retaliate against supporters of sanctuary cities ordinances, specifically those working with or for the sheriff's departments. Krause had identified in January of 2017 that Gonzalez's campaigning around the sobering centers presented a challenge to the criminal enterprise that was being effectuated through current and former members of the Houston Police Department who were using the sobering centers as part of the pattern of racketeering activity that Krause had been investigating. Krause additionally understood that the sanctuary cities designations provided a perspective through which to view current and pending attempts to divest real estate holdings from people engaged in providing alternatives to the racket being run through the Health and Human Services system that Krause was attempting to report. The woman that Krause encountered at the Salvation Army had been offering an alternative to the racket, and her real estate holdings had been fraudulently acquired in order to engage her and those whom she supported directly in the racket through having to obtain services in the racket's network. In this sense, the resources that this woman had been able to acquire, build on, and offer to others without collusion with the racket were fraudulently acquired by the racket in order to launder money through it by assigning it economic variables for their use. Krause connected elements from this attempted transaction directly to Gonzalez in that the sheriff's department would be responsible for enforcing any fraudulent evictions of people if and when they were to occur. Were Gonzalez or other Texas sheriffs able to successfully prove that retaliation against supporters of sanctuary cities ordinances were unconstitutional, then there would be more support and precedent for successfully challenging and proving the unconstitutionality of the racket's efforts to evict people outside of their scope in order to ensnare their resources. Now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. I already know this specific section is connected to a pre-existing weapons paradigm, not unique to Texas or even the Western Hemisphere. Right? My name is not Gonzalez. My name is not Gonzalez. My name is Charity Colleen Krause. The woman I mention in here provided housing for women and children, mostly women that had to flee abusive husbands, who were attempting to acclimate themselves outside of the reliance upon their abusive husband. That did not necessarily mean they weren't going to have a meaningful relationship with a man appropriately suited to understand what she had to offer, which was more than economic variables associated with their children. This woman provided a means by which these women could engage in a process by which they would be owners of their own home within 2 years. They wanted her eliminated. Did you nuke her? I actually believe you did. She may or may not be alive anymore, but I am, and I believed in what she was doing. I understand that since this happened, her LLC was used in derivative action connected with a major, major bankruptcy. I've been tracking it ever since. You know, I always thought it was very unwise to try to do something where you used terminology having to do with important industrial or scientific processes as some sort of terminology related to the financial sector, especially when you're not prepared to actually deal with the ramifications.